Who has more cred than you, living after being shot 9 fucking times?
I don't know what the criteria are for street credibility. Or
That's
if there's something that creates more merit for you. I looked at that experience as something that was unfortunate that I had to, because
I forget, why the guy shot you 9 times? Was it drugs or something?
He was paid to do it.
He was paid to do it.
Everybody knows 50 Cent got shot 9 times back in the day. That's old news. But here's the part most people have never heard. Gene Deal was one of the very first people to check on him after the shooting.
The day 50 Cent was shot, I was walking through, and BMF was there too. Meechnam was there too.
Now here's where it gets real messy. Gene was rolling with the Murder Inc. crew back then. Yeah, that Murder Inc., meaning he had deep inside info on everything that was going down behind the scenes. And don't forget, the same man Fitty eventually clashed with big time was in the picture. But now Fitty's saying Gene didn't just make a quick call to check in. Nah, he might have played a major role in saving Fee's life. Start putting the pieces together, and suddenly it ain't sounding like some random street beef.
He said, yo man, cause 50 just got shot, you know, and he in ICU. I say, 50 what?
So what really happened that night? Who was actually pulling strings behind the scenes to take 50 out? Gene Deal, the former bodyguard for Diddy, just dropped a bombshell, and it's turning everything we thought we knew about that night upside down. For years, folks were throwing around names, guessing who really wanted 50 gone. But now, Gene's side of the story is hinting that some big-time industry players might have been operating in the shadows.
That Irv Gotti and them had put it out there like they was a part of it and they was gonna do it that night, the day at the meeting.
The government stopped me from making the money. When the government came in, at that time, Murder Inc. was doing like over $100 million in billing for like 2 years.
Karma. Explain to me again why this guy was hired to shoot you 9 times.
Well, you was paid because someone, felt like that I would potentially do something to them if they kept going in the direction that they were going.
Man, you are tough.
And once you start digging, the puzzle starts fitting a little too perfectly. When the shooting happened, Gene was all the way down in Mexico, chilling with the BMF crew, and then boom! He gets the call that 50 Cent just got lit up 9 times. But this is where things start getting real shady. Right after the news broke, 50's own former manager reached out to Gene, trying to get in contact with Supreme. Now, if you know even a little about this story, you know Supreme's name has always been tied to 50's shooting. So why would someone from 50's camp be hitting up Supreme right after the ambush? That move alone had folks side-eyeing everything. Like, did they already know who was behind the hit? Gene said tensions were sky-high, and Murder Inc.'s name kept popping up in the background. He even claimed some folks from the label were acting way too calm, like they saw this coming. Almost like 50 getting shot wasn't a shock to them at all, which is wild. Let's not forget, 50 and Murder Inc. were locked in one of the nastiest rap beefs the game's ever seen. So when Gene stepped up and said he noticed some real sketchy behavior coming from that camp, it wasn't just some throwaway comment. People started seriously pointing fingers at Irv Gotti and Ja Rule, saying maybe they weren't as innocent as they seemed. All this drama was popping off while 50 Cent was rising straight to the top, and at the same time, Murder Inc. was ruling the charts. But here's where it gets deep. Let's talk about Murder Inc.'s tight ties with Supreme. Everybody in the streets knew Irv Gotti and his crew weren't just music heads. They had real connections out there. And things hit the fan in 2003 when federal agents raided Murder Inc.'s offices. That's right, the feds were digging into serious stuff like money laundering and links to Supreme's drug operation. The whole investigation exposed just how blurred the line was between the rap game and the streets. Now Irv and his brother ended up beating the charges. But it left people wondering, if Supreme really had a target on 50's back, was Murder Inc. just sitting back watching? Or were they actually involved behind the curtain? Fast forward to now, and guess what? 50 still ain't letting none of that go. The man holds grudges like trophies.
We got up there, we came in, and shit, you had Navy SEALs with it, 2 in all directions. Probably was about 6 of them.
When you get hurt that bad, either your fear consumes you or you become a bit insensitive. So just after...
Which one was it for you?
There was a point that I was afraid.
Afraid?
Yeah, following that.
When Irv Gotti recently passed, folks thought maybe 50 would chill out and show some respect, but nope. He jumped on Instagram and went straight to roasting him. No RIP, no condolences, just straight up jokes and clowning. 50 Cent didn't stay quiet after Gene Deal dropped those claims. Not even close. He actually reposted the whole interview on Instagram, basically giving it a big-time stamp of approval. And let's be real, 50 don't co-sign just anything. If he's backing it, then there's definitely some truth in there. He's been around too long to fall for random gossip. 50 knows the difference between messy talk and real street facts. So for him to stand behind Gene's version of what went down, that's saying a lot. But just when you think you've heard it all, the story takes another wild turn. Enter Daryl Hamo Baum. And trust, this dude wasn't some background name. He was tight with Mike Tyson. These two had a bond going all the way back to their Brooklyn days, real deep history. Eventually, Baum became Tyson's personal bodyguard, not just for show, but because he had a serious rep in the streets. Having him in Tyson's corner made total sense.
You know, it seems like you've always been attracted to the guys that are still in the streets to a certain degree. Do you think that's a fair statement?
You know, attracted to them?
Well, not attracted to them, but I mean, you like having them around. You're friends with them and you maintain
Yeah, I like
this.
having them.
But here's where it gets murky. For years, people been whispering about whether Tyson might have known more than he ever let on. There's never been solid proof linking him to anything shady, nothing official. But let's not act like the speculation ever went away. If you've ever listened to Many Men, then you already know the name Daryl Hamo Baum and how his fate was sealed just 3 weeks after 50 got shot. That's no coincidence. Baum was fatally gunned down in Brooklyn during what was reported as a dispute over street business. But folks believe it was way deeper than that. Given his heavy ties to the streets and the timing of it all, people couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. His name had already been floating around in connection to 50's shooting, so when he got taken out so fast afterward, it just made everything look even more suspicious. Now here's the twist. This time it's not an enemy. It might be someone from inside 50's own circle coming for him. And not just any random. We're talking about Monster, his longtime bodyguard and right-hand man. Word is, Monster is asking 6 figures for a sit-down interview, and he's threatening to spill everything. Monster wasn't some regular security guard either, and he was the enforcer. Real quiet, real serious. If you ever saw 50 out in public back then, chances are Monster wasn't far behind. Dude was always there, watching, moving like a ghost. He kept 50's space tight and drama-free. You've probably seen Monster before. Always in the cut, staying 10 steps ahead, keeping things tight around Fee. There's even a clip of 50 walking through an airport where Monster's ducking cameras, swerving paparazzi like a pro, trying to stay low-key. Whenever 50 hit the clubs to perform, Monster wasn't just backstage. He was on stage, scanning the crowd, watching every single move. One of his most talked about moments? That tense situation between 50 and TT Trav on stage? If you watch that footage close, you'll catch Monster locked in, eyes fixed on Trav, ready to step in and shut it down if things popped off. But now, the whole story's flipping. Word is 50 fired Monster, and it didn't go down smooth. Allegedly, Monster's holding on to some serious dirt. We're talking secrets that could really shake the table, including that mystery video that once popped up on YouTube, hinting at 50 being involved in criminal stuff before it mysteriously disappeared.
50 Cent needs therapy. I don't care if you agree with the rationale. And 50-50, he gonna stand in it. He gonna stand strong in it.
He is. I look at it from both sides of the...
And it gets even hotter. Whack 100 jumped on the Getty radio show and said Monster's out here trying to lock in $1 million interview deal to spill everything. Not just gossip. Real behind-the-scenes stuff that could flip the narrative. Just 8 months after Get Rich or Die Tryin' flipped the whole game upside down, 50 Cent barely dodged another hit in September 2003. This time, it went down outside a hotel in Jersey City. Shots rang out on him and his crew in what looked like a clear setup. But somehow, nobody got touched. 50 walked away without a scratch. But the message? It was loud and clear. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. After that second attempt, 50 knew he couldn't move like just another rap star. The streets were still on fire, and the heat wasn't dying down. So he leveled up. More security, fewer public pop-outs, tighter ops all around. Everything changed. He made his circle smaller and kept his moves quiet. Back in the day, he had Frank Alexander, aka Big Frank, watching his back. But now, his team is made up of straight-up ex-military and former cops, full-on tactical defense mode. Looking back at everything he's been through, it's no shock 50 stays on point 24/7.
And they are now where?
Oh, the guy who actually shot me is dead. And the guy who paid him got life in jail.
Got life in jail.
When you've survived bullets, betrayal, and backdoor politics, you don't let your guard down, ever. From the industry to the streets, even people who once rolled deep with him, at some point they flipped.